Mahoney Brains. How you doing? You're at the spot, the location, your favorite podcast. Yes, indeed, this is the place right here where the conversations are pointed in your face. The guests are sharp and the responses are never dull. Today we have Jennifer Friedman. We're going to talk about ADHD, what that
Yes.
is, how it is assessed, some key characteristics that you might be able to identify, and also this phenomenon, human design. I call it a
Yeah.
phenomenon because it's pretty, I don't know, it's not new, but it's pretty revolutionary. In the last 5, 10 years, people are kind of picking up on it and really figuring out what your characteristics are, who you gel with,
Right.
how
Right.
you perceive yourself, and how we can
Right.
better ourselves. So we're going to talk to Jennie about that and a whole lot more. Let's welcome her to the show. How you doing?
Hey, brains. I'm
Hey, hey.
great.
I talked to her. I said, you are in a good mood today. Yesterday was a holiday for us here in the US. And
Yeah.
she's still riding that wave. So tell my brains a little bit about you and how you show up in the world, Jennie.
Yeah, sure. So I'm an ADHD coach, and I've been doing this about 9 years. And I'm a little different because, well, I have a degree in psychology and I have all this coach. I'm a professional certified coach through ICF. And so I have this background that's like where I learned stuff, but I grew up with ADHD in my family. It's a genetic, condition. So I was adopted into my family though, which makes me a little unique to have grown up with it, but I don't actually have it myself, or at least I keep failing the test. My clients would tell you, oh no, Jennie, you definitely have it. So, but I don't, it doesn't show up in any of the tests, but that doesn't mean I don't understand it and I don't resonate with, in fact, it was so interesting to then fast forward later in life, find out about human design. And it's in human design that those are my people
Mm,
that have, they call it the shiny object syndrome people. Like
wow.
I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so, I just got goosebumps. I mean, it's so crazy to me how human design can help you understand yourself better. It doesn't, it's, a lot of people, it's not for them. I call it woo woo that works. Like, when you know how to use something like human design and astrology and gene keys, and you kind of mix it all together, and it helps me help others. Like, that's the bottom line, is why I use these kind of funky tools. But um, ADHD is where a lot of people, at least my clients, are more. It's an executive functioning area part of your brain that's most challenged. So things like organizing, prioritizing, time management, emotional regulation, focus and attention are obviously just more challenged because of your brain chemistry. So it's
Right.
very much like diabetes type 1, where your body doesn't make enough insulin.
Hmm.
Like ADHD, your body doesn't make enough of, like, there's 42 different neurotransmitters that are associated with ADHD, but the one we all talk about is dopamine, but there's a whole bunch of them. And so when your body doesn't make, quote, enough, right, then your brain just kind of works a different way. It kind of, the way we think of it is like you don't have filters, and then the more of these kinds of neurotransmitters that you can use, then your subconscious starts to filter out things for you, and then you have what we call typical brains. And so it's a spectrum. It's like anything. It's not something like, oh, you have a green spot on your face. It's like, no, it's
What do
kind
what
of like.
what do clinicians do to diagnose? Is it a written
So
test? Is it a,
yeah,
you know,
you can go to different people for different things. There are certain tests that some people do a huge, like, a battery of tests, and it can cost $2,000 or $3,000 for, which, I mean, this is just between you and me. I think that's silly, and like I would never recommend people doing that. There's other doctors. There's this free questionnaire you can get
it's not
online.
just between me and you, it's between me, you, and the world now. Everybody knows. So brains,
I
you know you
know,
gotta
but so between you guys and me, right? I'm just saying, like, I'm not a doctor, but like, I would not recommend anybody to go spend $2,000 or $3,000 to find out that you have a brain that's like a fast Ferrari with bicycle brakes. It's hard for you to inhibit. It's hard for you to put the brakes on. Sometimes you might be someone who talks and there's no periods in your sentences. You're
Right.
just blah, 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 blah. So a lot, and that's not everybody, but so it's a wide variety of what we call symptoms that we see. And because it's a spectrum, you might not even have any problems so much with like talking. You put periods in your sentences, no problem. But maybe you're someone who's more in your head and doesn't express you're kind of quiet, kind of. They used to call that inattentive ADHD, where you're kind of like the dreamer, kind of, but you had thoughts like hyperactive mind.
Right.
That's where the raciness was in the mind instead of the body. Like it was, you would see these little boys running around the schoolyard and you would real hyper, and that was thought of as a child, especially in boys. I mean, that's just like, we're talking like 20 years ago, that's what everybody thought it was. You would outgrow it. And now we know better. Now we know you don't outgrow it. It's literally like kind of a
Girls, I
design.
hear the girls can really kind of mask it a lot better than boys. And also, I am
Yeah.
finding that people are being diagnosed in their 30s and their 40s after they have taken their children for testing and finding that they have
Yes.
similar characteristics and traits. And they've wondered, why have I always been so distracted at work? Why haven't I been able to complete tasks? Why have I,
Yes.
been called under the carpet for something? But you know what else I heard? That they do not consider that as a disability in the workplace.
Yeah, it depends on where you are, because it is federal in the United States. There's a federal, I'm trying to think if it was called IDEA or something. There is a federal way of getting disability accommodations. You,
Hmm.
you don't go out on disability like you can't work, but like you can ask for certain accommodations be given you so that you can function in
I think
parameters of the
I think
job
that's
that are
so
needed.
unfair. Yeah, you might need a little longer to complete a task and not, you might need
Yeah.
different type of equipment on your computer that help you with
I
that.
just tell people, though, I think the easiest way to get around it so that you don't have to fight the fight, if you're not up for it. If you're up for it, great. But if you're not up for it and you don't want to go human resources, you don't want to declare your disability and go through all of that, it's okay to tell people, I'm someone who's really bad at figuring out the most important thing unless you tell me, what's the most important thing for you? Because to
Right.
me, I'm going to think all these things are important. You have to tell me what's most important. And that people don't go, why can't you figure it out? They're like, oh, well, what's most important to me is that you do this, this, and this. And you go, okay, now you know your boss's priorities. Now you know your priorities. Or you might say, I'm someone who is so easily distracted that like I need to sit kind of in the corner away from people. That just because all ADHD characteristics are human characteristics.
Right.
So we can all go, oh, most people can wrap their head around it. It doesn't sound like, oh, this big problem. It's like, oh, yeah, oh, you know what? Switch desks with Susie then. No problem. Like you
Oh,
can
okay.
a lot of people can get their way and get what you need without having to go through the formal, you know, coming out. But like I said,
Right.
it's up to you if you
Absolutely.
want to or not.
So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about, okay, you are a clinical psychologist. What's the difference between a psychologist and a coach in the world
So
of ADHD?
I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'd have the background to be one, but I'm a coach.
Oh,
I
okay.
do
All right.
coaching.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell me, what is the
Yeah.
function of a coach? Why would someone seek out a coach?
Right. So when you go to a psychologist, you're generally trying to figure out how you came to be this way, right? We're trying to go in the back and kind of figure it out. Where's this come from? Oh, because your mom was this way or your dad was this. And we kind of figure it out. Coaches then go, okay, well, so this is who you are and how you are, however you got here. Let's just move forward and figure out how to work with you so that you can get things done or, whatever, be happy. And so there's really not a focus on the past. And with ADHD, to me, there's no need. We know how you got it. It's inherited. You got it from one of your parents. Like it's not something you
Mm.
need to go that, so And that's, I, I get, obviously some pushback from some people who find it terribly debilitating. And they maybe didn't have family structures that supported them emotionally or with a lot of structure. And they're very like traumatized. Oh no, I have PTSD from my ADHD. I'm not going to argue and say that someone doesn't. If that's your truth, okay. But like, then I would not be the best fit for you. I'm someone who says, we know how you got here. We know you're no good with time management. We know that you're this, and that. And now how are we going to live life? Like, how can I help you? So that, because to me, the most debilitating aspect that is really hard to shore up is the memory issue. Because with ADHD, you really only hold like in your working memory, like between 3 and 5 things. And with, let's just say typical brains hold 9 things. So that's a big difference when you're trying to like, so if you said, oh, you know what, April, go run upstairs, go in my drawer, go get in the bottom of the left-hand drawer, second to the bottom, there's this red sock, and look underneath it, and you'll see this, my special coin.
Right.
With ADHD, they go, wait, what? Okay, go upstairs and look in what drawer? What'd you just say? Because it's too much, they're not holding all these things.
Right.
Where someone who doesn't have ADHD, oh, okay, and they just go do it. So what we do is what is known as external scaffolding, which is where you have supports which just externalize, so you don't have to remember everything in your mind, and there's a lot of ways we do that. And there's a lot of what I call biohacking kind of tips and tricks and tools that all of us ADHD coaches like to use. Yeah, but we're not trying to figure out why you're this way.
But let me ask you about human design. Explain what human design is, a little bit about it, and then tell me how you utilize that in your coaching.
Okay, so human design is this, I'll call it a framework that was developed by this guy who went under the name of Ra Uru Hu, who I say went into the forest one day, like back in the 70s or early 80s, and he got this divine download of information about how people were designed to utilize their energy centers. And he came out from the woods and presented human design to the world.
Oh, wow.
And it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, that's really weird. But when you start, so it's kind of based off the I Ching, which is ancient Chinese philosophy. It's also based off your chakra system. So it talks about your root energy center and your spleen and your heart chakra, these chakra centers inside. And it talks about like how you make decisions and live in authority. And it has like this different language that goes with it, so that you're always trying to be correct. And so it's a little, I don't know. When I first heard about it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird. I love weird, but that's even a little weird for me. But then there was this, people have taken that system and like Karen Curry Parker, she took it and she kind of, I think she worked for him, and then she devised her own way to look at it, and she updated the language and called it quantum human design. And that was a little easier for me to wrap my head around, because it was the language element of it was just easier to get. And I started to see myself like in everything in my design. I was like, yeah. Just, and it's astrology's mixed in it too. I loved astrology. So the way I help people using human design is to do up your chart and then see like, so there's certain aspects to you that are going to be what you want to do for a job, how you communicate, how you relate with other people, and your strengths and weaknesses in these areas, and how you use your energy. There's this thing called a manifesting generator. I find a lot of my clients with ADHD are manifesting generators. It is not perfect science like that. Like, I would not say it's a diagnostic tool at all. Okay. Because there's also, every kind of type has ADHD in it, but like, it's just interesting. So now we're looking at the person as the person and their unique energy signatures, and we're not using the ADHD framework so much label anymore, right? Which is why I had originally even wrote my book, was because I was trying to make sense of it for people to look at it through a lens of like, it's just a different way to think of brain processing. It's not, it's like blue eyes, brown eyes. It's not,
Right.
it's just a different, it's different, but it's not like this pathology, you know, where you have to fix it. And people think it is pathology because of the medication issue, but like I said, like type 1 diabetes, they help your body create more insulin because your body doesn't naturally do that. That's what the ADHD meds do. They help your brain, you know, make more dopamine and serotonin and norepinephrine and these things. Because your body just doesn't naturally do it. Do you have to be on medication? No, you do not. It's not a life-threatening thing. It's just a design of like how you think. And there's a lot of like wonderfulness to not having these phony filters that society like, you
Right.
know, that you
But
buy
where it comes
into.
into play now is that you don't, adults, all this makes perfect sense. But where this is really hitting hard is with children,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
school age children. And, they don't have the toolbox, um, and they don't
Right.
move this way. So how do how do parents work with their children in coaching them through these things? Because I'm not a physician, but medication, I guess,
Yeah.
if you want to take the easy way,
Right.
got to put in the work if you're going to do this, because your child is going to have this forever. It's not something I think you grow out of,
You
but
don't grow out of it. Right.
you got to grow into it. And
Mhm.
educators, you got teachers that's got 25, 26 kids in
Yes.
the class, no
Mhm.
support. They're
Mhm.
the mass monitor. Now they have to be the bulletproof vest, all this other stuff that's
Right.
going on. How do we work with them to be, more sensitive? Because I think this is a tool. Your book can be a tool to help them identify, learn, and teach. It's a different way of teaching.
Yeah. It's the book was really for anti-stigma because that to me was the most dangerous part about ADHD is the stigma that we have around it because we just don't understand it. But when you look through the lens of like love, right? And you see, oh, this is really an interest-based brain. When it's not interested in something, like most little kids are not interested in a variety of topics being taught at school. So
Right.
they're like, they don't have the attention for it. And the way that it was presented, like people thought, well, they're restless. So let's throw them outside of recess so they can run around and burn off their energy. And then when they come back in, they're like, now they're, able to like, oh, they got all that energy out of them and now they can focus on the math, right? Or the reading or whatever.
Right.
And that's not all what happened. What happened was you're don't have a natural interest for whatever's, let's say it's just math, right? And it's like, oh, I could care less. My brain just like detached. And
Right.
I'm like looking around trying to find something else that's interesting because it's looking for something interesting, right? So now I'm looking over here, looking over here. I look restless because I'm looking for something else to be interested in. That's not it. Now you tell me to go outside and run around. Okay, I go outside and run around. Exercise creates all these neurochemistry, that the medicine does. So exercise, if you're not going to do the medicine, the next best thing is exercise because that literally makes your body create dopamine and norepinephrine, serotonin, and all those other chemicals.
Oh,
So
wow.
now you go around, you run outside, you just took your meds, and you come back inside and now I can sit there and go, even though I'm not interested in math, I now have enough chemistry in me to be calm and focused and pay attention.
Okay.
And that's what really happens. But people that didn't understand or don't understand why you can go outside and then come back in, they think it has nothing to do with burning off your energy or nothing,
Right.
nothing at all. It's that now I have enough neural soup to support me paying attention to something that I have no interest in, which
Wow.
happens to be something that people that don't have ADHD can do naturally. They can have zero interest in something, but they can sit there and go, well, there's this thing called secondary importance, and they know it's important, or else they'll like catch hell at home. Like I
Exactly.
need to I need to do my work, so let me do my work. It's important to mom and dad. It's important to the teacher, so therefore it's important to me. With
Right.
ADHD, you don't have that.
Right.
You don't, your brain doesn't care who it's important
What's
to.
important
And
to
that's,
all of us is your book. I want to get let me let everybody see your book because this is key information and we want to get
yes.
rid of the stigma. We
Yes.
really
So I named it ADHD, a different hard drive.
that's
Get it?
cool.
So it's
That's
like a
cool.
different hard drive in your brain.
So tell us a little bit about the book and you are going to give us a testimonial. You're going to read a
Well,
testimonial.
yeah, because I was going to pick something out here to read to you guys, and it's, I'll tell you, I made it as light and easy to read as possible because it's competing with books that are explaining neuroscience to you. And that's like, really, to me, it's dry, you know. When you read this, you're reading something. I put it in like a practical approach. I show all my references, so I based it on the science, but you can read through it pretty quickly and really get what I'm talking about. But I thought for you guys to understand the importance, like how it hits, I was going to read a review left on Amazon, that some reader had left, which I just thought, I could never say anything. Nothing in here is going to say it quite like this.
Share it with
So
us.
this person, yeah, this person said, "You have the same amount of hours in the day as I do. My boyfriend," in quotes, "my boyfriend and I were arguing again about my organizational methods or lack of. I have been recently diagnosed with ADHD and was only beginning my journey of learning to manage the debilitating condition. As much as I wanted my boyfriend, as much as he wanted to understand, he just didn't. He was unable to. He had no idea what it was like. Because of his inability to relate to the jumble that my mind was on a regular basis, he would say things that would cut me to the core. I would respond with defensive, hurtful words, leaving us both frustrated and isolated. I came across ADHD, a different hard drive, and I showed it to him, and he inhaled the book. Clearly, he wanted to understand more about my world. The next day, I was met with understanding that caught me off guard. Instead of the toe tapping and sighs while I looked for my keys, he lent suggestions as to where they might be. And while I fluttered around jumping between 3 different projects, I paused to come up for air. My boyfriend was gazing at me with wonderment. What? I was suspicious. Just watching how your brain works, waiting to see where your focus goes next. Who was this man? What was in that book? ADHD, a different hard drive, breaks down ADHD in a relatable, empathetic way. My boyfriend cared for me, but was unable to understand. I was unable to explain. This book was a saving grace as it bridged the gap in miscommunication. I found that as he learned and realized what ADHD truly was, I gained confidence and would look optimistically towards the next day. Nothing gives more hope than feeling understood. This book gives just that.
Wow, that's a bell ringer
I'm telling you, I
for
have goosebumps
sure.
all over. It was just, when
I
I
mean,
read that, I was like, I can't say anything better than
no,
that.
you can't. And I mean, that took a lot of focus and dedication to put that all together. So bravo. And that's good for you. That is really good for you.
Yeah,
Brains, pick up a book. I'm reading a book and it really stimulates your mind. It takes you to a different place. It puts you in this other person's shoes. So you be able to walk the walk. And it saved a relationship, and it saved
yes,
her. It boosted her self-esteem to let her know that, I'm not cuckoo crazy. This is a condition that I have to live with that many other people have, that if more people were compassionate and understood, but we don't know, Jenny, we don't know what's going on inside of
no,
people's bodies, inside their brains, their thoughts. That is why so many people teeter with the mental health challenges that are going
yeah,
on. This is neurodivergent. There's a
yep,
lot of things under that umbrella, and we don't understand it. But you know what? It's a sign of the times. It is a
yeah,
sign of the times. It's a different way. Think about AI. It's a different way of formulating the brain. There's too many people, too many children that are being born in 4G, 5G with this neurodivergency because
yes,
there is something else in my mind. I'm a conspiracy theorist, girl. I get off on that. But there's something going on in the universal alignment that is changing the synchronicity of humans. our timing, our balance, our thought processes, our wants, our needs, our desires, our diet. We are going through this portal of change. Whether you want to
Yeah.
believe it or not, brains, is happening. And so
Yeah.
now this is a precursor or a way of letting you know that there's something different going on with people's brains now, not like they used to be. I mean, you look at autistic children, they're brilliant in mathematics and art and science, but they may be very introverted. Some of them to the point where they're nonverbal, but they have other skills. So there's something going on in the world, in the universe.
Yes.
So I see how astrology and energy and metaphysics and quantum physics all play a part in the human design. Did you catch that, brains? If you didn't, you better rewind it. Okay? Because I got it. Am I on right? Am I on track?
You're 100,000% right.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, brains, it's happening and it's happening right now. You know, the world is changing. I mean, even look at people's common sense, which isn't common sense anymore. You see that somebody's committed a crime. You see that they've done something inappropriate. You see that they've raped and pillaged and mistreated somebody, but you fail to acknowledge it. You just kind of turn away. What is that? What is this dumbing down? What is this numbness? What is this not feeling important? That's what leads us to AI. I had another guest on the show that is really working to incorporate the human emotion into AI. It's going to be scary. It's scary, but it is what it is. So you better get in line or you're going to get left behind. But you have asked us so many great questions. I want to ask you some fun questions about you because you look like a fun kind of girl.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jennie, what planet are you from? Out of all the planets in the solar system, where would you say you're from?
Well, I know the answer to that, so I can
Okay.
tell you. I'm from Amphibian.
Where's Amphibian?
That I don't know, but it's up there.
Ah,
and and part of those the seeding of Earth was
mhm,
from all these different planets,
right.
and that's my lineage, Amphibian.
All right. Okay. Well, I can dig that. If you could
It's
time
really
travel,
weird, I know.
no, it's different. And you know what? The word weird is really cool. It's very provocative. It's not, so don't think, brains, that it's strange because it's not. Um, if you could time travel,
Mhm.
past, stay here in the present, project to the future, where would you land?
Oof. Well, I've done past life regressions, so I feel like I would like to go in the future. Past life regressions are fascinating, but the future, we're co-creating it, and there's only now. So, like, however that works, like, I like to see something that we can't, that I don't have any clue, like, how to even think about it.
Right.
Because of past life regression, you have like a little bit of a reference. Like, I looked down my feet, I saw I was a male, I saw I was dressed in a tunic, and I turns out I was like some kind of warrior, like a soldier in Spain in 1200. Because I have these like ways I can look at like the dress and the thought and the feel. I have no idea for the future, so I'd like to go in the future.
All right. Cool. If you were an animal, what animal would you be and why?
Um, well, personally, I just love cats. I think cats have it made. I would love to come back as a cat. They lay around in the sun. They have people feed them. They are left alone. They are, they
Love it.
come and go as they please. I'm like, sign me up. I want to be a cat next time.
I'd probably be a party animal. Absolutely. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be?
Well, probably a blender, right? Mixing it up.
Good. That's good. That's good. I think
Yeah.
I want to be the air fryer.
Oh,
Juicy, crispy, clean, a little bit of grease,
a little
hot,
bit of everything.
hot,
Yeah.
trendy. Yeah, everybody's on trend. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
You
cute.
had an opportunity to go back and have a conversation with the 25-year-old Jennifer Friedman. What would you say to her?
Hmm. Well, I would tell her it'd be okay. It's going to be okay. Because when I was 25, I did not think it would be okay. My dad committed suicide when I was 21. And I did not think anything was okay until I was about my 30s. So at 25, I'd go back and go, it's really going to be okay. You don't have to keep being upset. Yeah.
What would you tell to a young person that just found out that they were chosen through adoption? How would you tell them
Hmm.
to settle into that awakening?
Well, I would say you're just one of the special ones like me, and we just get to have more love. We get bonus parents. I mean, it's a, you know, when I was younger, there was people who would say, "Well, how do you feel about knowing this person didn't want you?" And I was like, "But they did, or they wouldn't have had me. They just didn't want, they couldn't raise me. I don't know why, but they did. I was wanted because you're here. You were wanted.
And
Just who you
that's,
land with might be totally different than who genetically." I found my birth parents at 50.
oh wow.
So through ancestry DNA,
Yeah.
they did not know that that would ever
I
happen. The
found a
father
brother.
never.
I found a brother about a year and a half ago that I didn't know that I had.
Yeah.
And it was strange, but I proceeded with caution. I said, "Let me check you out." I Googled him. I looked at his Facebook. I was like, "Who is this person?" Before I introduced myself, and
Wow.
it has been a wonderful gift. It's a wonderful gift.
I think it is a wonderful gift if you allow it to be. If you want to be upset, sure, you can be upset about it. But like, I don't see now that the parents that raised me aren't here anymore. And my birth parents were still here at 50. They were still here. And one just passed away a couple years ago, but I still have my birth mother. And it's just been a blessing. It's like I told her, I said, "You like bonus mom." She's not my mom, but she's my bonus mom.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you never know what people's reasons are, what they did. What they did, it was different. It was a different time.
Yes.
And don't carry
Yes.
those epigenetics, don't carry their childhood trauma. You have a new life. So I encourage you to do all of that. If
Yeah.
you were a car, what kind of car would you be?
Oh boy. My first thought was a Ferrari, but I don't know why I even thought that. I just
But
love
you
fast
click.
sports cars. I love fast sports cars. Of course, a Porsche is really cute. Porsche
Hmm.
is a little more my speed as far as it looks. Just something fast and fun that has a convertible top and stick shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo. Well, you have been a wealth of information and a whole lot of fun. And thank you for being animated because you did not
Oh,
make
thank
this.
you.
So you didn't make what people perceive to be a disability disheartening. You made it seem lighthearted, encouraging, motivating. Um, you were the cheerleader. You can get through this. You
Yes.
can do this, and that's what coaches do, and that's why coaches come and people need to come to you. Please tell my brains how to get
Right.
in contact with you, work with
Oh,
you,
thank
have
you.
any offering, and also how to get a copy of the book.
So the book is on Amazon, and it's called ADHD: A Different Hard Drive by Jennie Friedman. Right? Say Jennifer? Jennie. Um, so you can order it on Amazon if you want. Um, Absolutely, you can reach out to me over on Facebook, Jennie Friedman. It's facebook.com, Coach Jennie Friedman. You can look me up and friend request me or whatever. And my gift for all of you guys is if you have or know someone that has a lot of brain chatter and you want to quiet the mind, I'm going to spell it out because it's called, my website's reachfurther.com, but it's spelled REACHFURTHUR.com. There's two U's, there's no E. So reachfurther.com/quiet. You're going to get a free, like my free thing to help. It's like all these ways to, I think it's 12 ways, and then there's extra ways on of how to instantly quiet your mind without boring meditations. So that you can just like, if you have to, like if I was coming on here, my mind was like racing and thinking, I have little tricks that you can just do in your own mind that all of a sudden that all that extraneous noise goes away. And now you can just focus on what you want to say and do. It's like for free, miracle there. And that will put you in touch with, like, at least then, yes, you would be on my email list, but you can always unsubscribe. Or you can
No,
reach out to me and keep
exactly.
going. We got tons of stuff to offer. Yeah.
Keep going
Yep.
because it's a lot to discover, and not just with the ADHD, but also with human design. I'm sure that you can
Yes.
take them and elevate them to a different level. Take them to,
Yeah,
what was your planet
absolutely.
again?
Amphibian.
Amphibian. Okay, that's plasma. I
Hmm.
was going to Pluto, and she didn't pass me.
I'm way beyond that. I'm
You
way
way
beyond that.
beyond
This is one of the original planets ever.
that.
Uh, it,
Wow. She is
although it's
another level.
infinity, so I don't know if that's possible.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here on the Edge Brains. Go and check out your frequency. Check out your brain waves. Okay. Look into
Thank
your
you so
heart.
much, April.
Thank you. Don't be judgmental about people. You don't know what's going on with them. You really don't. And they might be able to elevate you to the next level of understanding, and support your kids. Don't judge them. Don't let people label them. Just learn to love on them. Have a great day, Jennie. You are the best.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye, brains.
Bye, brains.